cosmic signals. Is anyone really listening to us? Imagine a quiet night, the sky painted with countless stars. You look up into the endless darkness above and suddenly wonder, out there, beyond the veil of light, is there someone else? This question is not new. It has haunted humanity for thousands of years, ever since the first tribes gazed upon the Milky Way, stretching across the heavens like a glowing scar of mystery. To the eyes of our ancestors, the night sky was a silent book filled with hidden messages, waiting to be deciphered. Ancient civilizations from Egypt, Mesopotamia to the Maya left behind monumental structures aligned with the stars, as if they were sending messages into the cosmic void, hoping someone or something was listening. Yet in our modern age, that question is no longer confined to faith or myth. It has become a scientific pursuit, a quest known as the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We call it SETI, and for decades, humanity has built colossal machines, giant ears aimed at the heavens, hoping to catch a faint whisper from the depths of space. For if there are billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, and around those stars, countless planets, then the odds that Earth is the only cradle of life are so impossibly slim that it borders on absurd. So the real question is not whether life exists out there, but whether we can hear it and whether it can hear us. To understand this journey, we must rewind to the 20th century, when humanity first dared to send its own voice beyond the blue dome of Earth. In 1974, scientists at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico transmitted a special message, a sequence of encoded radio signals containing images of human beings, the structure of DNA, our solar system, and fundamental information about Earth. The message was aimed toward a star cluster 25,000 light-years away. The odds of a reply were essentially zero. Such a distance is beyond human imagination, but the act itself was symbolic. It was like knocking softly on the vast door of the universe. Even before and after Arecibo, humanity has not only sent signals, but also listened carefully. All around the world, massive radio observatories were erected. Giant dishes turned toward the distant cosmos, straining to capture every murmur, every flicker of sound. And every now and then, in a moment that seemed almost accidental, we stumbled upon something that defied explanation. Signals appeared, sometimes lasting only seconds, sometimes flashing once and never again, but they left scientists shaken, their mysteries unsolved. Among the endless background noise of the cosmos, a handful of signals stood out, so unusual that even seasoned astronomers were left speechless. The most famous of these was recorded in 1977, the WOW signal. One quiet night at the Big Ear radio telescope, the receiver suddenly detected a 72-second burst of radio energy, so powerful it dwarfed anything seen before. The researcher monitoring the printout circled the signal and scribbled "wow" in the margin. That word became immortalized, and the signal itself became one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in astronomy. It never repeated. It was never found again. And so it lingers, like an unanswered greeting from the stars. But the WOW signal was only the beginning. Entering the 21st century, scientists discovered an even stranger phenomenon: fast radio bursts, or FRBs. These are intense explosions of radio waves, lasting only milliseconds, yet releasing more energy in that blink than our sun emits in an entire year. Most come from galaxies billions of light-years away. Even more disturbing, some of them repeat with uncanny precision. If these bursts are natural, what kind of cosmic engine could possibly produce such disciplined patterns? And if they are not entirely natural, could they be signals, deliberate messages from a distant intelligence? Meanwhile, Earth itself has never been silent. From the moment humans invented radio, television, and radar, we began broadcasting unintentionally into the cosmos. Earth has become a lighthouse in the galactic night. Our signals ripple outward, carrying with them the first radio broadcasts, the earliest television shows, even military radar pulses. If a civilization existed just a few dozen light-years away, they could already be watching humanity's past, hearing voices long gone, seeing grainy black and white images of the world as it once was. Which raises a chilling question. If we can broadcast and we can listen, is someone already listening to us? And if they are, why are they silent? Throughout history, humans believed the heavens carried omens. A comet meant disaster. A planetary alignment signaled the dawn of a new age. Today, we use telescopes, mathematics, and physics, but the awe and fear remain the same. The universe, vast beyond comprehension, reduces us to a speck of dust. And in that smallness, we yearn for a response, for a confirmation that we are not alone. Now imagine one day, the massive FAST telescope in China, or a next-generation observatory, captures a repeating signal. Clear, structured, undeniably artificial. The world would shudder. Scientists would argue, governments would panic or convene in secret, and the public would be consumed by speculation. Half of humanity would rejoice that we are no longer alone. The other half would fear that contact might spell our end. This opening chapter is like standing at the threshold of a darkened room. Beyond the door might lie a treasure or a trap. The question still lingers, echoing in every human mind. Is someone out there listening to us? The answer remains elusive, but the search itself drives us ever forward, our eyes fixed on the heavens. And from this very point, the story of mysterious signals from deep space begins, a journey that is at once scientific and mystical, where every flicker of radio noise may carry the power to rewrite human history. For decades, astronomers have turned their eyes and their instruments to the heavens, listening with a patience that spans generations. The universe is vast and unending, filled with stars, galaxies, and energies so powerful they boggle the human mind. Yet within that immensity lies a more delicate mystery, signals so faint, so fleeting, and so peculiar that they defy every natural explanation we have. These are the unsolved signals, the cosmic whispers that appear without warning and vanish as if deliberately hiding their origin. They are the mysteries that stand at the threshold between science and wonder, between explanation and imagination. The most famous of them all remains the WOW signal. It happened on a warm August night in 1977 at the Big Ear Radio Telescope in Ohio. The telescope had been built to sweep the sky for faint radio signals from beyond Earth, listening in frequencies where human-made noise would not interfere. Astronomer Jerry Amon was on duty when the printout machine spat out a string of numbers and letters far stronger than the background hiss. For 72 seconds, the telescope caught something extraordinary. A clean, narrow-band signal at the exact frequency of hydrogen, the universal marker that scientists expected any intelligent civilization would use. Hydrogen, after all, is the most common element in the cosmos, a natural beacon of communication. Eamon circled the anomalous numbers on the sheet and almost unconsciously wrote a single word in the margin. Wow! That scrawl would make history. It became not just the name of the signal, but a symbol of human astonishment at the unknown. The WOW signal never returned. Despite countless follow-up observations, it has never been repeated. Scientists have offered theories, maybe a passing comet, maybe a stray satellite, maybe even an Earth-based transmission that slipped into the telescope's range. But none of these explanations hold up completely. The WOW signal remains, to this day, one of the best candidates for an extraterrestrial transmission, a voice in the dark that spoke only once. After WOW came a new mystery of the modern age, fast radio bursts, or FRBs. First discovered in 2007 by Duncan Lorimer and his student David Narkevich, FRBs are short, powerful pulses of radio waves, lasting only a few milliseconds. Yet in that tiny fraction of a second, they unleash more energy than our sun produces in a year. At first, scientists dismissed them as errors in data, glitches in equipment, but more and more of them were discovered. They were real, and they were coming from billions of light years away. That distance meant whatever produced them had to be unimaginably powerful. Most FRBs appear only once, like cosmic lightning strikes. But a handful repeat. Some repeat with eerie patterns, regular intervals like the ticking of a cosmic clock. One repeating FRB was traced to a galaxy 3 billion light-years away, coming from a region no larger than a single star system. What could produce such disciplined bursts? Magnetars, highly magnetized neutron stars, are one possible explanation. Yet even magnetars cannot easily account for repeating precision, and so whispers of artificiality began to circulate. Could FRBs be lighthouses, beacons sent intentionally across the cosmos? Could they be attempts to communicate in the only language the void allows, pure energy? As the years passed, other mysterious signals emerged. In 2019, astronomers detected something extraordinary. FRB 180916, a repeating signal with a cycle of exactly 16 days. For 4 days, the signal would burst, then fall silent for 12. Over and over like a cosmic heartbeat, it continued. No known natural process behaves in such a way. Scientists again speculated, was it a binary star system, a rotating magnetar, or was it something beyond our comprehension? To many, it felt as if someone, or something, was deliberately choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. Another puzzle arose in 2020 when researchers detected what they named BLC-1. It was a narrowband radio signal discovered by the Breakthrough Listen project, coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to the Sun. At first glance, it appeared to be exactly what scientists had dreamed of, a persistent, structured signal that might come from a neighboring world. For months, astronomers were electrified. Could this be it? The long-awaited confirmation? But as they dug deeper, doubts arose. Eventually, they concluded that BLC-1 was likely interference from Earth itself, a human-made artifact. Yet the disappointment only deepened the hunger. If such a signal could appear by accident, then surely the real one, someday, would come. Not all mysteries come from distant galaxies. Sometimes the signals are closer and stranger still. NASA has recorded eerie space sounds using instruments that convert electromagnetic waves into audible audio. These recordings reveal the hidden voices of planets and moons, Jupiter's intense radio storms, Saturn's ghostly whispers, Earth's own auroras singing in the magnetosphere. The sounds are haunting, like choirs of unseen entities echoing through the void. They are natural, yes, but they remind us of one thing. The universe is alive with hidden music, and within that music, we may yet find notes not made by nature alone. And so humanity continues to listen. The great observatories, the Allen Telescope Array in California, the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia, the enormous Fast Dish in China remain vigilant. Computers process petabytes of data, scanning for narrowband signals, structured pulses, anything that deviates from the randomness of the cosmos. Most of what they find is noise, satellites, cell phones, radar. But sometimes, hidden in the noise, comes the flicker of something different, something that makes scientists hold their breath. Each of these signals, solved or unsolved, touches something primal within us. They force us to confront the possibility that we are not alone. They force us to imagine minds beyond ours, older, wiser, perhaps waiting for us to notice them. At the same time, they remind us how little we understand. A burst of energy might be a dying star, or it might be a greeting across billions of years. The line between the two is thin, and our instruments are still crude compared to the scale of the universe. The unsolved signals represent more than puzzles of physics. They are mirrors of our own longing. When we see the wow signal, we see not only a blip of data, but a reflection of our hope that someone out there cares enough to call across the void. When we hear the whispers of FRBs, we hear not only the crackle of collapsing stars, but the possibility of an intentional voice. In chasing these signals, humanity is chasing itself. Our desire for connection, our fear of isolation, our eternal question of whether we matter in the grand design. And so we stand at a crossroads. The universe hums with countless frequencies, and within them may lie the answer to our deepest questions. But every time we capture a whisper, it vanishes before we can understand it. Every time we think we hear a voice, silence follows. Are we too early, too primitive to decode the messages? Or are we perhaps being tested, watched to see if we are ready? The signals continue, the mysteries remain, and the search goes on. For centuries, humanity has gazed up at the night sky, wondering if we are alone. But in the modern age, the question has grown more complicated, more haunting. It is no longer just whether someone is out there watching the stars as we do, but whether they might already be listening to us. The irony of our technological age is that even before we knew how to listen properly, we had already begun to speak. Every spark of communication, every invention that harnessed the power of radio, television, and radar has also been a beacon shining into the abyss of space. Whether we intended it or not, humanity has announced itself to the cosmos. When the first radio transmissions were born in the late 19th century, they were weak, experimental, fleeting. But as technology grew stronger, so too did our voice. By the time radio became widespread in the 1920s and 1930s, the planet was covered with signals, music, news, wartime propaganda, comedy shows, all were beamed skyward, traveling at the speed of light. Those signals are still moving outward, expanding in a sphere centered on Earth. By now, they have passed beyond the nearest stars. Imagine it. If an alien world orbits one of those suns, its inhabitants could be tuning in to broadcasts from our past. They might hear the fiery speeches of leaders long gone, the jazz and swing of an era they never lived through, the laughter of audiences who never dreamed they would be heard by another species. To us, these transmissions are ordinary, background noise of a civilization growing louder. To another, they could be the first whisper that proves they are not alone. Yet our first voice to the stars is not deliberate, not polished, not carefully chosen. It is accidental, messy, and utterly human. We have leaked our existence like a child speaking in its sleep, unaware of who might be listening. But accidental signals were only the beginning. Eventually, scientists dared to send something more intentional, more purposeful. In 1974, the world witnessed a moment that symbolized humanity's first deliberate message to extraterrestrial intelligence. From the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, the most powerful radio telescope of its time, astronomers broadcasted a tightly coded signal aimed at the globular star cluster M13. It was a short burst, lasting just under 3 minutes, but its content was profound. Encoded in binary was a map of our solar system, a sketch of a human figure, a representation of our DNA, and the numbers that define the basics of our mathematics. It was a cosmic postcard, a bold statement. This is who we are. The catch, of course, is that M13 lies 25,000 light years away. The message will not arrive for 25,000 years, and even if someone answers immediately, their reply will take another 25,000 years to reach us. It was less a conversation and more a declaration, a symbolic gesture that humanity was ready to step onto the stage of the universe. The Arecibo message may never be answered, but it changed our perspective. For the first time, we had intentionally looked outward, not as scientists observing, but as beings introducing ourselves. The 1970s were a decade of ambition, and another bold attempt came not long after. In 1977, NASA launched the twin Voyager spacecraft. Each carried a golden record, a time capsule designed to float forever through the galaxy. Inscribed on the records were sounds of Earth, greetings in dozens of languages, music ranging from Beethoven to Chuck Berry, the sound of waves and thunder, the laughter of a baby. The records also included images, human anatomy, animals, plants, cities, mathematical equations. They were not directed at a specific star, but were instead gifts cast into the sea of space, like bottles carrying messages that might one day wash ashore on a distant world. The odds of the records being found are minuscule, yet the gesture was monumental. In creating them, we acknowledge that the universe might contain others, and that we wish to be known. Later, in the 1990s and early 2000s, scientists sent other deliberate transmissions, often referred to as cosmic calls. Powerful radio telescopes beamed carefully constructed digital messages toward nearby stars, each containing information about Earth, humanity, and our place in the cosmos. The idea was both scientific and symbolic, testing the possibilities of communication while inviting others to notice us. Yet with every message sent, debate grew louder. There is a divide among scientists, a philosophical tension at the heart of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. On one side are those who believe communication is a natural step. If advanced civilizations exist, surely they would already know about us. Our radio leakage has already betrayed our presence. If the galaxy is full of intelligent life, staying silent may be futile. To reach out is to show curiosity, to embrace connection, to grow beyond the cradle of Earth. On the other side are the cautious voices, those who warn of danger. Stephen Hawking was among them. He feared that advertising our presence could invite disaster. History on Earth shows what happens when a powerful civilization encounters a weaker one. The result is often conquest, exploitation, or destruction. To shout into the cosmic dark is to gamble with the unknown. We cannot know who might be listening, nor what they might desire. Perhaps silence is the only safe strategy, a way to remain hidden in a universe whose dangers we cannot predict. This debate is unresolved. Some argue that silence itself may be interpreted as arrogance or fear. Others insist that reckless transmission could doom us all. It is a paradox. We long to know if we are alone, yet we tremble at the thought of being noticed. In every whispered radio wave, in every coded transmission, there is both hope and dread. Meanwhile, the conversation continues in another, subtler way. Even without deliberate attempts, our planet cannot hide. Earth itself is a beacon. Our atmosphere glows with the signatures of life, oxygen, methane, and other gases that betray the presence of biology. Advanced civilizations could detect these biosignatures from light years away. To them, Earth may already appear suspiciously alive, a blue and green jewel among barren rocks. Our transmissions are not our only announcement. Our very existence, carved into the chemistry of our planet, is a signal in itself. So, are we being heard? The truth is that we do not know. Perhaps our earliest signals have already brushed against alien antennas, sparking curiosity or confusion. Perhaps our deliberate messages are still speeding silently through the darkness, fated never to be found. Perhaps Earth is already cataloged by civilizations so advanced we cannot comprehend them. Our radio leakage a quaint curiosity. Our golden records childlike scribbles compared to their vast archives. What matters is not only whether someone hears us, but how we feel about the possibility. To some, it is a dream, that one day, our voice will be answered and we will know that we are not alone. To others, it is a nightmare, that the response may come from those who see us not as equals, but as prey. In either case, the act of listening and speaking changes us. It forces us to confront the scale of the cosmos and the fragility of our place within it. When we ask if we are being heard, we are really asking if we matter in the vastness of time and space. We are asking if our story is unique or part of a chorus of voices that fill the galaxy. The uncertainty lingers like a shadow. We continue to send signals, intentionally and accidentally, not knowing if they echo into emptiness or into the ears of unseen watchers. And in the silence between transmissions, we wait. The universe is vast beyond comprehension, a black ocean scattered with islands of light. Every night, humanity looks upward and wonders whether the silence is real or only an illusion. We have sent signals, intentional and accidental, into this darkness. We have listened for echoes, for voices that might return our call. But so far, what we have received is uncertainty. And in that uncertainty lies one of the deepest questions of our existence. Silence can mean many things. It could mean that no one is out there, that our galaxy is truly empty of intelligent life, that Earth is a singular miracle. If so, then our signals travel endlessly into the void, destined never to be answered. But silence could also mean something else, something more unsettling. It could mean that others exist but choose not to speak. Perhaps they observe quietly, waiting, studying us as a species, still too young to join the greater chorus of civilizations. Perhaps they fear us, just as we fear them. Or perhaps they obey rules we cannot imagine, where contact is forbidden until a certain moment arrives. The silence of the universe is therefore not empty. It is heavy with possibilities. And each possibility changes how we see ourselves. If we are alone, then life is rare, and our responsibility to protect it becomes overwhelming. If we are not alone, then our every action, our every signal could be judged by eyes we do not see. In both cases, the burden is immense. What do we do with this silence? Some argue that we must keep searching, for the search itself is what defines us. To listen to the stars is to declare that we are curious, that we will not be content with ignorance. Others argue that the search is dangerous, that to invite answers is to invite consequences we cannot control. Between these two visions lies the fragile truth. We do not know what will happen if one day a reply comes. Imagine the moment. A signal arrives, undeniable in its origin, structured in a way no natural phenomenon could create. It could be a greeting, a warning, or something we cannot interpret at all. But in that instant, everything changes. History, science, philosophy, religion, all would be reshaped by the knowledge that we are not alone. The very idea of humanity would be forced to expand beyond the boundaries of Earth. Our divisions, our conflicts, our triumphs, all would be seen through the eyes of a larger cosmos. And yet, perhaps the greater transformation is already happening. The act of listening, of waiting, of sending our voices into the dark has already changed us. It has made us confront questions larger than ourselves. It has reminded us that we are fragile, but also daring, insignificant, but also capable of reaching beyond our cradle. We are both terrified children and bold explorers. The silence of the stars is not an answer, but it is a mirror, reflecting back our fears and our hopes. In the end, the question of whether someone is listening may matter less than the fact that we are asking. To ask is to admit that we are ready for connection, that we are willing to face the unknown. The silence may endure for centuries, even millennia. But the search will continue, because to search is to be human. Perhaps one day the silence will break. Perhaps a signal will arrive, faint but clear, carrying across the gulf of light years a message from minds not our own. Or perhaps it will never come, and we will remain alone beneath the endless stars. Either way, the act of listening defines us. It is a thread that binds us to the cosmos, a declaration that we are part of something larger. So we wait, and we listen, and we wonder, is someone out there listening as we are? Are our voices reaching them, just as we strain to hear theirs? The answer remains hidden, but the silence itself has become part of our story, and in that silence, we continue to dream. Bạn có muốn mình chèn prompt hình ảnh cho phần 4 giống như ở phần 3, theo từng phân cảnh quan trọng đánh số rõ ràng không?